Good day. This is Sheldon St. Clair of St. Clair Knowledge Management Productions. In this message, we are talking about the project manager checklist, and I will describe the deliverables, the documents, the reports, the things that should be undertaken by the project manager during each phase of the project lifecycle. Thank you. I thought it just to reiterate the point that all products from St. Clair Knowledge Management Productions are copyrighted. All rights are reserved, so you're not allowed to reproduce this electronically, photocopy it, sell it, auction it without my prior consent. Um, you've got my address, phone and fax number, and my website. Okay, so please respect my intellectual property and enjoy. Now, in this project lifecycle process, we have 6 phases: initiation, planning, requirements and design, build, transition, and finally close. Now, depending on which company you use, you may have different project lifecycle processes. Depending on which project method you use, you may also have different project lifecycle processes. But the objective is all the same. What are we looking to do? How are we going to do it, and then implement it. That's really what your project lifecycle is about. It's about organizing your work. Okay, now initiation. What do we mean by that? Project initiation puts in place the definition, funding, prioritization, and resources that are required to launch a new initiative, a new project, a new thing. Okay. At the end of initiation, a project, whether it's an IT or business project, is clearly identified and defined, and will have a budget and resources in place and committed to the project. Now, the key document produced at the end of initiation or during initiation is your business case and sometimes your PID, your project initiation document. When most people think of a plan or think of planning, they visualize a Gantt chart or something similar using either MSP, that's Microsoft Project, or Excel. They think of it as a chart showing a breakdown of the activities involved in the project. Now, to me, good planning is about asking yourself a series of questions. For example, what does the sponsor, what does the business actually want? What do they need? Okay, what are their requirements? Once you've got those listed out, the next step is to look at, for each of these requirements, for each of these needs, what sort of project deliverables are required. Now, these deliverables could be systems, it could be documents, it could be reports. Okay, so you've got a need, you've now got a list of deliverables, and the final step is what activities and tasks do I need to do to create those deliverables. So it's a top-down process. What are the business goals? What deliverables or things do I need to do to support those goals? And then what activities or tasks do I need to be working on to complete or to create these deliverables? And then for each of your tasks and activities, you can then assign people to them, you can cost them, you can look at your start and end points. During the requirement stage, we start off by asking ourselves or asking the client some straightforward questions. Why are we doing this thing, whether it's IT or whether it's business led? What are we doing? What are we trying to do? What problems are we trying to solve? What opportunities are we trying to capture? Um, who will be impacted by whatever solution we come up with? Where will the benefits be seen? Once these requirements have been documented, we can then start looking at some potential solutions to evaluate to see whether these solutions will deliver the project, will satisfy the requirements. The build phase is where we construct or we do the physical activities in order to bring about the solution. We test it and we accept it, but we also do some other supporting activities as well, managing quality, i.e., is it fit for purpose? Monitoring activities against a plan, uh, reporting and communicating progress as to what we're building, whether we're building a house, a data center, whether we're building a novel, a book. Okay, all these things can be measured and tracked. Transition is a very important process, a very important step, which isn't often recognized by people building the system or those receiving it. Now, during the transition phase, we start to prepare the business for the introduction of this new thing that we've done. We carry out training. Um, the business actually fully tests and we look at whether they are ready to accept this new thing. And then finally, the close. This is where we've introduced a new document, a new IT system. We've built a house, we've built a data center. Everyone's happy with it. We're kind of like monitoring it for any sort of snagging or problems that need to be sorted out. And then the project is closed, the team's disbanded, um, the budget is, well, the actual cost is calculated, the final report is produced, and our work is now done. Now, during the initiation process, the three main documents that need to be produced are the project brief, the business case, and the PID, the project initiation document. This is in the wrong order, unfortunately. My apologies for that. The project brief is really a statement about, it's a thought, it's an idea. People have asked themselves, should we do this? Or what is it that we want to do? Okay, so you use the project brief to articulate that. The business case is where we start to look at funding in terms of it will cost $1 million. But where are we going to get the money? Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to fund it? Or is the money coming internally or externally? How many resources do we need? What type of resources do we need? How long do we require the resources for? Okay, so that's sort of information. What are the benefits of what we're looking to do, or what has been identified in the brief? Okay, so the brief is where you state your idea. The business case is where you go into a bit more detail as to how much is it going to cost, what are the actual what options are available to us, and then once the business case is signed off, then what you've got now becomes a project. Okay, until the business case is produced and signed off, you haven't got a project, you've got an initiative, you've got a thing. The thing hasn't got any money attached to it, hasn't got resources attached to it, hasn't got any timelines, a plan attached to it. The business case does. And then the next part will be your PID. This is where all your information, all your analysis about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, where is it going to be located? You know, what will this thing look like? how are people going to use this thing? And your PID is like your Bible, because it's your rule book. It's the document that everybody's going to refer to as the project progresses. Right. Okay, in the planning phase, the four main deliverables, the four main documents that need to be produced are the project schedule chart, the budget plan, the resource procurement plan, and the initial risk assessment. Now, as I'd mentioned in an earlier slide, the project schedule chart, which could be produced using um, Microsoft Project or Excel or Word. Yeah, it's really a list, and basically it says, okay, from the bottom up, what things need to be done to produce a deliverable, and how do these deliverables support the goal, the thing we want to do. Okay, so at the lower level, your chart will consist of activities and tasks. They will have people assigned to them. Those people, those resources, would have a cost, a day rate, an annual rate, per month, per day, and also a start and an end date for the completion of the activity. The budget plan is produced at the time you're creating your business case. It's on this basis that money has been assigned to your project. Um, Now, in terms of your budget plan, um, from a reporting point of view, it can take many. There are many templates, and we've got templates available within St. Clair Knowledge Management for you to use. Effectively, in your plan, you're interested in, for each item, what's the budget, what's my actuals or my forecast against that budget, and is there a difference? Am I overspending? Am I underspending? Okay. Now, on your resource and procurement plan, now some of your resources may be internal, some of them may be external. So your plan actually devises or expresses what you need by role. Do I need project managers? Do I need builders? Do I need construction people? Do I need contractors? Do I need consultants? Okay, when do I need them, and what is their day rate? Okay. Now, finally, the initial risk assessment. Um, with risk, you're interested in things that might have an impact on the successful completion of a delivery. Okay, that's what risk is, in my view, is what can go wrong, um, not what has gone wrong, what can go wrong in the production of a business case, or the construction of a house. And then you list those out, you apply strategies against it, and you try and mitigate it. Try and explain how you can resolve it. The requirements documents, or the requirements package, must clearly be defined to both stakeholders and the project team. The rules and constraints, impacts, and the acceptance criteria that the design and the solution must satisfy. So what you're stating here is not just what do I want, what my needs are, but also how can I tell when these needs have been met? What's kind of like are the quality that needs to be done. So, for instance, you may say, well, okay, my project is to build me a new kitchen. Now, you may well say, okay, well, the kitchen must have two doors. The handles must be plastic, not wood. The materials used must be oak and not ash. Um, the cabinets must be on wheels, not on wooden balls. So it's these sort of things. You're kind of like looking at you're kind of specifying what this thing must look like. You haven't built it yet, but you're kind of like you're noting down kind of what you're noting down the size, you're noting down the dimensions, you're noting down kind of like what sort of bells and whistles it must have. Those are the sort of things that must be contained within the requirements documents, the requirements package. Where your project is being completed by a third party, say consultants or a carpenter or a builder or a mechanic, during the design stage, um, the project team the documentation will clearly describe to the stakeholders and to the project team how the solution will meet the requirements stated in the requirements document or requirements package. The project team will also consider the impact or what impact the solution might have on existing processes, people, and systems. Okay. Um, Now, any kind of once the design documents have been signed off, any significant changes to the requirements or scope will enter what we call a change control process. Otherwise, the project will never get done. The final step within the requirements and design process is the work package definitions. Now, what that really is just a chunking up or the breaking up of work. So you're in your requirement, you're saying this is what I want. In the design, you're saying this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to accomplish it. And then in the requirements in the work package definitions, we're actually breaking up the work into manageable pieces that can be given to individuals, or it can be given to consultants, contractors, or other groups to do the work. Okay, so just kind of, if for instance, our project was to build a house, then you'll have a work package for, say, making the doors. You may have a work package for electricals. You might have a work package for the central heating. You might have a work package for the painting, a work package for the roof. So you're really just breaking up the design into manageable and discrete bits of work. During the build phase, there are two major stages that take place: the construct stage and test and acceptance. So within the construct stage, that involves the development of the systems, infrastructure, processes, documents, or any items that's based on the design specifications produced in a design stage. So during this stage, the project team will create the core deliverables that form part of the overall solution. They'll also look at quality and prove that the solution works, and they'll start to write content for the training manuals. So the documents that are kind of key or important for the construction stage are your design documents, change control, training manuals, and the implementation plan. The test and acceptance stage, or the validate stage, follows construct and is a process of ensuring that a product, a deliverable, or a process conforms to the defined user needs, requirements, and specifications. The following products are produced, which are the test completion report, the updated design documents, and the training manuals. Um, All types of deliverables can be assured in some manner. Processes can be tested, documents can be reviewed, new hires and contracts can be subject to warranty to ensure that the quality is as required. During the transition phase, this is kind of like where you've implemented your system, you've implemented your change, and the business as usual team take responsibility for the solution. So they're now kind of like checking that the solution is what they required, is what they've asked for, and they can use it as well. So this is where the project team will provide support to the business as usual team. And if there's any sort of risk and issue items that need to be resolved, they will do that. If there's any outstanding issues, the project team is there to assist the business as usual team. Okay. Now the main documents that are produced here is the service level documents, and also the configuration operational documents as well. So this is basically all the manuals, all the training materials, how things work, any sort of drawings or specs. Basically, we're saying to the business as usual community or to the users, we've done our bit, it's now over to you. The final phase is the close phase. So the main document produced here is your lessons learned report, your closure report, your PIR or post implementation review plan, and finally the project file documentation. So your lessons learnt document during the life cycle of your project, you should be making notes as a project manager of information that could be of use to other projects, or there could be things that with hindsight, if you were to produce the project again, these are things that you would carry out. Whether it's a case of, well, I would talk to my users more often, I would communicate with people more often, I would get agreement for things from my stakeholders earlier than I did. So it's basically kind of things that you've learnt during the project. Okay, your closure report is the main document that you produce and which needs to be signed off by the project board. So in there, you're kind of looking at final costs. You're describing the project in terms of what was delivered, what wasn't delivered, what was the cost, whether the project came in on time. So it's basically things like that. Now, the PIR plan is an event that takes place about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months after the project has gone live. And this is where you gather together your main stakeholders, the customer, the client, the users, the sponsor, and you have an assessment um, over the project. What went well, what didn't go well, um, what's still outstanding, whether there's things that need to be done, whether there's new projects that need to be created as a result of this implementation. And then the project file is really where you're saving all of your documents, your minutes, agendas, plans, registers, logs, basically all the documents that you have produced, that's all saved away and archived. Okay. Okay, so this is the end. I hope that you found this video and the slide pack useful. As I mentioned before, all of the templates described, outlined during this presentation are available, and whether they're risk and issue registers, whether they are business cases, whether they're PIDs. So they're available for you to use, and coaching from the St. Clair knowledge management production team are available as well. So thank you very much, and this is Sheldon St. Clair signing off. Goodbye.